plaintiff, Taylor Dobeck, says the defendant is her father, and she claims when she was 9 years old, the defendant confessed that he had cheated on Taylor's mother, and he asked Taylor to keep the affair a secret. Taylor is suing her father for breach of contract. Defendant Jerome Dobeck admits that he divorced Taylor's mother, but insists it had nothing to do with infidelity, and he never confided in Taylor about having an affair. Jerome does not believe he owes Taylor for anything.
Tell me what happened.
Starting off, we always had a very rocky relationship.
Starting off when?
About 9 or 10. At about age 9, I found out he'd been unfaithful to my mother, and
How'd you find that out?
He told me about her and asked me not to say anything, and of course I went home and told my mother.
I know you didn't do that, sir. You didn't call your daughter and say, hey, don't tell mama, but I'm cheating. That couldn't be possible. Or you, huh?
It didn't happen like that, Your Honor.
How did it happen?
Your Honor, let me start from the beginning.
I want to know about this part. Did you tell your daughter you had a woman?
No, Your Honor. My ex-wife and I were separating.
Okay.
And it had nothing to do with cheating. She did not want to admit that our relationship was over. And
how did she find out?
I did speak to the kids. I did tell them that Mom and I are separating. I'm moving on with my life.
Okay.
But it wasn't, I went to her and said, I'm cheating on your mother.
Don't tell her.
Yeah, it wasn't like that.
All right, you didn't ask her not to tell?
No.
Okay. You say he did?
He did, the whole instance.
Don't tell mama.
He said,
but
hey, at this moment, hey, your mom doesn't know. She doesn't know anything about her. And this was a few weeks before I met her.
Go ahead.
In about 2007, he joined the military. In 2008, he tried to force me to move to Germany with him.
What did your mother say?
She said that if I didn't want to go, I shouldn't have to go.
Okay,
she
and
agreed.
then what happened? You didn't go?
No, I did end up having to go.
Even though your mother told you didn't have to?
There was no prior custody arrangement, so he had the final say.
All right. He took you against your mother's will?
And mine, yes.
Okay, and your mother didn't try and seek partial or joint custody?
Yes.
And what happened? They turned her down?
No, we never made it that far. He had agreed that he would let me come back right after the summer ended if we didn't pursue anything in court, and I said fine.
Did he?
No. I ended up staying for a year and 2 weeks.
Okay, so why, when he didn't keep his word about letting you come back home, did your mother fail to try and get you back home through the legal process?
I'm not really sure how that went. She knew.
What, she didn't have money to go to the court? I might understand that.
Yes.
That's the reason?
Yes.
That's not what you said earlier.
That's part of the reason.
That's not what you said earlier. Let me go to him. Go ahead.
I'd like to start at the beginning. My daughter and I, Taylor is the youngest of 3 kids.
How old is she now?
She is 17 now. And I didn't think our relationship was all that rocky. I treated Taylor just like I did the other 2. I tried to spend time with Taylor. Our interests were different. It was hard to get along with Taylor at times.
Why?
But I love her. Taylor is a very brilliant child. She is. She's very smart. She didn't like hunting, fishing, the things I liked. It was very hard to find things that we liked together. In 2007, I joined the military. I was stationed in Germany in order to get ready for Afghanistan. After being there about 9.5 months, 10 months, I had deployed to Afghanistan and had returned. Once I returned, the girls went downtown and shoplifted a bunch of stuff from the local stores there in Germany. They're facing German charges. I was forced to send them home, back to the United States. After being there about 8-9 more months, I was deployed again. In May of 2010, I was injured pretty severely, where I got a Purple Heart and was sent back home. After that...
Thanks, by the way, for your sacrifice.
Thank you. After being home, I was medevaced back to the United States, and I'd been home about 5 months, and I received this letter from my daughter that I'd like to read.
What does it essentially say?
Basically that everything that she feels is because of me, that I've caused her to be that smoke pot, like girls, drink, and it's all because of me. That everything that's happened is because of me. I've tried to do everything I could.
You didn't say he caused you to like girls, did you?
No.
Oh. Read that part.
Your Honor,
I'm trying to see how unreasonable she might be.
Your Honor, it says, I hate people, I'm messy, I'm depressed sometimes, I'm always angry, I'm tired, I'm a bad kid, I hate school, I crave attention, I have OCD, I'm claustrophobic, oh, and I like girls. How do you like that?
Where in that does it say it's because of you?
It is my turn to point fingers at you, and I blame you.
For the other things.
Ma'am.
For the other
For
things.
everything except for that. So why didn't you separate them? Go ahead. You got that letter when you got back.
Correct, Your Honor. I called Taylor that day. I was hurt by the letter. I tried to talk to her about it. She didn't want to really talk about it. We more argued than talked. We weren't able to work anything out. About 5 weeks later, I received a summons in court, and I'm standing here now in front of you.
All right. Ma'am, how does he owe you for breach of contract? What are the contracts?
During the time period that I lived in Germany with him against my will, I tried a lot of things to get his attention, for him to pay attention. I didn't want to be there. I decided that I wanted to go out for cheerleading. I made it, and there was fees of $180. He told me he would pay for it like he did for my stepsister, like he was going to, but he didn't have the money then, so I paid for it, and he promised the next paycheck he would pay me back for it. That never happened, and after I'd moved back to the States, he'd promised that he would help me try to get a car, but there were no promises. I said, all right.
He said there are no promises?
About whether or not he'd find a car and when.
You thought he was saying, I may or may not be able to afford it?
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Where was the contract now?
It was a verbal agreement. He said that he'd found a vehicle, and if I sent him the money, $936, to buy this BMW that he had found, he'd taken pictures of the outside of the vehicle and said that he had already purchased this vehicle. He would use my money to pay back what he had spent on it and to repair it. I said, okay. So I sent him the money. After a month or so, a couple months, I kept asking, hey, is the car going to be ready? Do you know anything else about it? And he said, oh, I already sold it. But I kept the electronics out of it, so you can either have that or the $1,000. And I said, just send me the money back. And since then, he's failed to do so, and that's
why you're suing him. Sir?
Your Honor, part of that is correct. We had, I had told Taylor I was going to try to help her get a car. I purchased a BMW for her.
Let's back up. Did you ask her to send $936 and it would go toward a car?
It would go toward fixing the car. I had already purchased the car, Your Honor.
Okay.
So,
fixing the car for what? For her use?
For her use, correct.
Okay, so you would have to take the $936 and then give her a car after it was fixed because you bought the car for her use.
Correct, I did.
All right, did you do that?
I tried, Your Honor. It didn't. The transmission, I didn't know at the time.
It didn't occur, so did you send her money back?
Negative. I gave her an option. Do you want the money back or do you want a car?
All right, she said she wanted money back today, and she said she told you that earlier.
That is not what she told me.
All right, she's telling you today. Are you willing to give her money back?
I don't feel I owe her, Your Honor.
Why?
Because I've raised her. I don't think any child.
Oh, yeah, all right. I see what the problem is. You're right. I would have problems too if my daddy took my money and said, I ain't giving it back because I raised you. She owed me for them diapers. Let's move on to the cheerleading fees.
I don't know what she's talking about there. If she made an agreement with somebody, it wasn't me. I wasn't even there.
Never spoken to you about cheerleading fees?
No.
This is the first time you've heard anything about...
No, she mentioned it one other time on the phone.
You just told me she never spoke with you. $1,116. Have a good day. Judgment for the plaintiff.
I used to think, that it was worth mending, but like trying and trying, I'll try one more time, but I really don't see the point.
You know how I feel about you. I've done everything I can to raise you right, and I cannot believe you've done this. I can't. Yeah, this is what's wrong with today's society. Kids like you.
And the parents that raise them, I guess. I am the next in kin to him. I mean, he's the one that raised me.
Your other sister is my next of kin.
Hi, Judge Mathis. I'm Jennifer. If I know my ex has a trust fund and I win a judgment against him, can I have the trust fund garnished to pay the judgment?
Unfortunately, Jennifer, you will not be able to garnish the trust fund unless your ex has control of managing it. If he is paid from the trust fund, perhaps you can get money from a bank account he deposits the money into. The only way you may be able to garnish the trust fund is if your judgment is for child support.